Shalom. Om. Hallelujah. Gracious Lord, grant clarity of wisdom while I share the message of the stars with my audience today, and may they be blessed with what I can share, and may they in turn give blessings to others. Amen. Aho. Tatsat. Okay. Greetings. Cosmic Kev here with your cosmic forecast for Monday, January 26th through St. Bridget's Day, February 2nd, 2026. Now, looking at the sky today, I would see the moon in the constellation of Aries. And the part of Aries that the moon is in is a lunar mansion known as Bharani. So Bharani's symbol is the female reproductive organ, the yoni. Now this is, I'm talking sidereal Vedic astrology in this part of it. This is Cosmic Kev 100 weekly video zine. Please like, follow for more, and I will go sign by sign then after that in the Western tradition of what's going on. But if we're looking at a telescope, we're looking in the sky, this is where this moon is. So what do they say about Bharani? Bharani is ruled by Venus. The nakshatras are 27 different positions the moon has. These are older than the 12 signs of the zodiac. And they relate more on our vata or etherical part of ourselves. Moon is allegedly related to our mind, to our way of thinking. Western astrologers pretty much limit it to the emotions. I would beg to differ. I would say the moon is a lot more specific than your sun sign, since it doesn't change just every month. It changes every couple days. So, and the lunar mansions are even more specific. They change pretty much every day. They're about 25 hours for each one, give or take. So, Bharani is the second nakshatra, and this is about our passions, learning about our passions. Aries, of course, is ruled by Mars, and the Bharani part is ruled by Venus. In Western astrology, this is Taurus territory, so not to get confused. But the ruling deity that they associated with Bharani was known as Yama, the god of death, and it was the legitimate son of Surya, the sun, and his wife, Prajna. And whereas Saturn was the illegitimate son of the sun and the wife's shadow sister or whatever, named Chela. Chela means shadow. So Saturn did not get everything that was needed. And because of that, when Saturn grew up, he called out the sun, called out the sun's wife and says, look, hey, why are you not giving me everything I need? You're not paying child support. You're not supporting my mother. What is going on, son? And the son's like, I am so sorry. You're right. You see, Saturn wants justice. Now, Bharani, ruled by Yama. Yama's a god of death and doesn't do so well with Saturn. Every birth is a death. Every death is a birth. The yoni, the female reproductive organ, rules Bharani. And so then we have this Venus connotation with it. There's a little bit of an element of brahmachari, where it's sort of like you want to be a bachelor forever, you don't want to grow up. And this is the deal with Venus, folks. Venus will never satisfy unless Venus's devotion is to God. That's why we see Venus exalted in Pisces. It is that devotion, and it's really a devotion to the Divine Mother as well, because Pisces is the more feminine aspect of Jupiter. It's so important to understand this if you're going to do this type of thing. And we can get lost there. And because we can get lost in Pisces, that's where we have to have faith. Faith is what's going to ground us. It's what's going to keep us going here. Bharani, we tend to be passionate about what we like, whether it's yoga, painting, making music, working out, teaching, cooking, and we'll do it to a point where we might ignore other important aspects of our life. You know, Saturn rules maturity, responsibility, accountability, creating justice. That's why Saturn's exalted in Libra. Saturn's debilitated in Aries because Aries is all about themselves. So if you're having a hard time in life and maturity, just give to others, folks. Consider what other people are going through, and that's what's going to make the real difference. And that's really my message for today's moon for Monday the 26th. Now, we're going to go sign by sign now in the Western tradition. Of course, in Western tradition today, moon's in Taurus. Taurus is about satisfaction. It's about appreciating what you have. And this is where the moon is exalted. This is where the moon actually does best. Because we're the best mentally, emotionally, when we are content. So, and contentment comes from gratitude. We can always get more. But if we can be happy right now with everything that's happening, there's an incredible peace in that. So with that said, I'm going to go sign by sign in the Western tropical zodiac tradition. We'll start with you, Aries. So greetings, Aries. Welcome to your horoscope. So you can see this is a big impact socially for you with Sun, Venus, Pluto, Mercury, and Mars, all in Aquarius. That is a lot of Aquarius planets. Aquarius key phrases I know. 11th house is a social life. It's also a place where helpful people, like helpful elders, older siblings, people in your social circle actually help you. They help you manifest things. They help you make money. And they help you have fun too, and somewhat reward you. I've heard it's a reward for listening to good teachings, listening to good spiritual knowledge. 11th house is a reward. So I'm going to just say this is a good time for Aries. Greetings, Taurus. Welcome to your horoscope. Okay. So, I mean, with Uranus's position, and I also needed to mention that Neptune just moved into Aries today. So, you know, we're in kind of a different social paradigm. And the thing about Aries is Aries will use a lot of force, whereas Pisces is a little bit gentle. So, you know, we kind of like, get your bootstraps on, folks. You know, be ready. When you got to be ready, you got to be ready. You know, have your bug out bags, your self-defense techniques, mechanisms, whatever, ready. And Taurus, it's like you got to watch your back right now in some ways. You know, Aquarius, which is activated, rules your midheaven. So this is a good time for work. This is a good time for career. This is a good time for your relationship with the public. And things are mostly concentrated in that area. So doing good works, helping others, you know, you're never going to lose it by doing that. It really doesn't matter what you call yourself. Are you acting as true sons and daughters of your Heavenly Father? Are you acting as true sons and daughters of the God of love? That's really what this is all about. And that's what's going to take you the furthest this week. And so, I guess, I mean, on the warning side, I say try not to get caught up in work drama. Oh, hello, Gemini, and welcome to your horoscope. Now, for Gemini, some of the highest and best spiritual teachings are going to come to you this week. And it's important that you don't neglect that you really listen in. If you have a good relationship with your father, now's the time to listen to him. If you have a good relationship with your teachers, now's a good time to listen to him. If you're on a trip, traveling, keep a journal. Record what's going on, all the sights and sounds, because this is a rich time in your life. This is a time when things are going your way in some ways, or maybe not seemingly going in your way, but there's going to be a turnaround for the better. And just accepting that, believing that, and also watching out for other people, showing a sense of grace, giving back. It's going to go so much farther. Those give backs are going to be multiplied this week. Okay. Greetings, Cancer. Welcome to your horoscope. I mean, Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. So in a way, that's like saying Jupiter is exalted in the Divine Mother. It gets back to that. It's a little different than Jupiter and Pisces, of course, but it is considered the exaltation place. Why? Because when you have a good mother and a good family, your mother's your first teacher, generally speaking. Everything else flows and is better in your life. And we forget that. We live in a society that since the late 60s, we've been encouraging women not to be mothers. Because, oh, get a career, go out there and grab whatever you can, you know. So what's actually happened is, first of all, women are the top consumers. They look how many clothing stores are for women versus men. I think there's like 6 times as many. So do they just change 6 times a day? I mean, I don't understand what this is all about, but I think it's actually predatorial against the psychology of women. And it's also really hard on Mother Earth, on the planet. It is because it's consuming, and there's people who make clothing in other countries that are under strict labor regulations where they're not really getting paid for what they're worth. And you know, clothing used to be made in the United States, you know, 100 years ago, not so much from other places. And people were paid, especially in the 40s and 50s, pretty well considered. And that's not what's going on today. And being conscious about your consuming is going to help you. Now, right now, this is a rough time for Cancer because there's all these planets in the 8th house. The 8th house is sex, death, occult studies, other people's property, other people's power. It's also, though, the place where other people can help you. So asking for help, humbling yourself is really important. So brothers, I want to hear you. We men, we don't like to ask for help. You know, we tend to pride ourselves in being self-sufficient, and there's reasons for this. But to humble ourselves when we need help is a good thing. And it shows our humanity, it shows our vulnerability, and it's a good thing. Because when someone else helps you, it helps their karma, so to speak, or, you know, their relationship with God and the divine plan. That's it, you know, giving. You know, you can never outgive God and you'll be rewarded. Everything's up in the public. So, I mean, what I say, Cancer, is get that inner life back. Hang out at home. Allow yourself some breathing room, some peaceful time. Well, hello, Leo, and welcome to your horoscope. Now we see as we get into Leo, things in the scale of where the grahas, the planets are, they're getting more towards relationship and how you affect others. And so Aquarius is your partnership sign. It's opposite of you. Your key phrase is I will. Aquarius's key phrase is I know. And it's hard to be with somebody who has a strong will. It's also hard to be with somebody that's a know-it-all. Yet this is where you make your best relationship reality come to pass. And you know, I have a former partner who actually was a Western Sun sign Leo, and she was saying to me, you know, the reason why Aries and Libra can do it and Scorpio and Taurus is because those are seasons that have gentler weather, and so they're able to kind of vibe with each other. And I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes sense, you know. I really thought about that, especially since Western astrology is season-based, not really constellation-based. And so the heat of August, I mean, Leo is the kings and queens of summer, whereas Aquarius is the common people in their winter, in their suffering, at least here on the northern hemisphere. And, you know, Aquarius is likely to call out the privilege. And so if you as a Leo can humble yourself and say, yeah, I know I got privilege, that kind of just helps neutralize that imbalance. And I've seen, in rare cases, some great Aquarian Leo couples, but it's pretty rare because there's so much ego on both sides. So it's like, this is a humbling time, and it's a time of compromise. It's also where your work environment is very whooped up. And I guess if you're at a demonstration or something, political demonstration, oh God help us, yeah, you might fall in love there. I've had this one Aquarius woman friend says, oh, I actually get really excited by these things. I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay. Probably Probably was too when I was younger. Now I'm like, oh Lord, please help us all. I want to be a good neighbor. Greetings, Virgo. Welcome your horoscope. Well, Aquarius time right now, it's like everything is like I got to work on my health. I got to work on helping others. I've got to be a better servant. I've got to pay attention to details. I got to pay attention to economics, and I got to be a better team player. That's the message. There's nothing about it, but it's also like you're that person, and you're going to do okay with this. Because giving is really the living, Virgo. And yeah, we all get burnt out. Most of you Virgos are sidereal Leos, and so there is this kind of cosmic burnout from just over involvement. And it's like, just pull back a little and say, hey, I don't have to be involved. It's okay to stay at home and sip on tea. This isn't so bad. In fact, this is some pretty decent chai right here I got going. Anyway, and when it's a frosty morning in Chico, it really helps cut through. Yeah, enjoy the simple and help others. That is it. Greetings, Libra. Welcome to your horoscope. Aquarius, although it's called the bearer of water, is anything but a water sign. It is an air sign in Western astrology. And it can be kind of cold and aloof, but it gets excited about architecture, and it gets excited about the latest social movement and politics. And it's like, well, okay. And the thing is a lot of Aquarians are too smart for their own good. Smart enough to trick themselves into thinking they're in control. And for Libra, it's like, well, I want to be in the middle path. I want to be, I don't want to be too extreme, either one side or the other. And with this, what happens is, at best, there's justice, and at worst, there's wishy-washiness and flakiness and non-committal. Right now, commit yourself to your creative works. Commit yourself to your children. If you're a Libra with children, they are active right now, and paying attention to them is going to be your greatest gift. And I know kids can be hard. They're hard on us parents because, they know more than us, first of all, and they're not afraid to tell us that. They're actually here to teach us. It's true. And unfortunately, especially in post-Blackboard jungle America, and especially since the late 60s on, we've kind of romanticized being disrespectful to our elders and to authorities. But it's hard to be in a position of authority. And so I would, there is hypocrisy, and let me tell you, they do need to be called out on it. It's true. But a wise leader will understand that. And we're not so wise usually when we're young. But this is your heart time, Libra. Valentine's Day coming up. So be in your heart, and see where it takes you. Well, hello, Scorpio, and welcome to your horoscope. Well, so for Scorpio, Aquarius rules the ancestors. I mean, let's think about this, because it's the fourth house. It's also fixed assets. This is when most of you were conceived. You were conceived in this season as a Scorpio, because it takes 9 months, baby. And, it's the womb. And the fourth house is the mother. And it is this placement where you feel comfortable in your own home and with your own tribe, but it's, you feel really sensitive, and those who aren't supporting you may not be the greatest environment right now. The cool thing about the fourth house, though, with all these Aquarius planets is it's really good for research. It's really good for learning about history, understanding what happened, and just glean the good stuff from history. Glean what really was elevating the best human moments, rather than focusing on doom and gloom. Although we do have to learn from our past mistakes, and it seems like we're terrible at that, because we want to do what we want to do. And I've been that person. I've made bad mistakes. I want to do what I want to do, and I really didn't think about all the other consequences. So I could say, I can acknowledge my own my own hypocrisy, my hippie hypocrite. So, and But this is a good time for you, Scorpio. This is a good time to have that higher knowledge, to really heal a relationship with a father, with a teacher, with anyone you admire. And I think things are going to get better from here. Greetings, Sagittarius. I mean, most Sagittarians I know really get along well with Aquarians. They they vibe well. Sagittarius loves a good party. So does Aquarius. Sagittarius loves philosophy. Often Aquarians will engage with philosophy too, and because they're into knowledge, so different constructs appeal to them. So we'll talk about things like this. And this is the third house. So third house is your siblings. So if you've got brothers and sisters or friends you grew up with that are kind of like siblings to you, connect with them. It's also a really good time for journaling, for writing, for working with your hands, for playing music, doing artwork. It's a wonderful time for all those things. Make all of this happen. And you're just, I mean, if you're back east and you're in that cold lockdown situation that they've had this winter, make more art, get into cooking and make some beautiful, healthy food, just use those inner creative resources that you're so gifted with to make things better. Well, hello, Capricorn. Now, what we're looking at here is a bunch of planets on the what they call the inner celeste, and this is our inner life. And so most of these planets are affecting your inner life. Capricorn and Aquarius are a lot alike. They're both Saturn-ruled signs. They're both tend to be extraordinarily intelligent compared to the other signs. I mean, you think about it. In the Northern Hemisphere, it takes a lot of knowledge to get through winter. It doesn't take that much to get through summer, especially late summer. And so there's a certain innovation that you have. You're like, I use as your key phrase. There's this understanding of the world. The planet Saturn is sometimes said to be like the world card in Tarot. So understanding about the nature of the world and what public responsibility is, how to make the practical things in life work. All of this is your game. And you could be in for a financial windfall. I would say that right now, family and finances are of primary concern to you and values. And it's easy to get caught up in the blast. A lot of things that are happening right now happened during a very recent administration that was largely celebrated for ethnic diversity. And it was kind of gave a free pass for the mistreatment of immigrants and all kinds of things that were happening, unfortunately. But it wasn't the focus, so we're in a psyop, folks. We're getting manipulated constantly by the media. It doesn't mean that bad things aren't happening out there. They are, but good things are happening too. And the light is returning. And we're on a waxing moon cycle. Waxing moon cycle means, things are growing, and what we're putting out might actually get multiplied to us. So we have to just keep all of this. We also have a full moon on Sunday, the 1st at 2:09 p.m. That's kind of like the day before St. Bridget's Day. So I think a St. Bridget's Day Imbolc is a big celebration. And I would imagine that moon is probably in Pushama Nakshatra, which is the best one. And so I just think I'm going to say there's a tremendous amount of hope right now, and you can be part of that goodness. All right. So greetings, Aquarius. Welcome to your horoscope. Yeah, we're heading to this full moon Sunday. And I'm pretty sure that full moon will be in the Pushama Nakshatra of Cancer. And in Western astrology, it's of course a full moon in Leo, which is to be celebrated. And both of these things indicate generosity and kindness. Generosity and kindness. Don't you love that? If you're having a birthday this week, I want to give a birthday to my friends, the Gilmore twins, Ian and David. I think they're having birthdays this week, and to my knowledge, they're turning 51, and it's like, wow. Um, I'm so grateful for knowing you guys. And everyone who's having a birthday this week, I'm also like, I'd like to express memory for Judy LaRocca, who is an awesome woman, and Phil LaRocca, who's an awesome guy. I think they're both Aquarians. And I just say, let's bring out more love in this time, folks. This is what it's really about. And that's one of the beautiful things about Aquarius is that they like different kinds of people. And they're not afraid to love ugly ducklings. And they're not afraid to speak their mind and disagree with the quantum paradigm. So yeah, baby. And thank you. Thank you all so much. And, I have some Aquarian friends. They don't want their birthday acknowledged. So, got to do what you got to do. If that's you, you know who you are. Happy birthday anyway, but I haven't said your name, so you can't get mad. Or you can, that's your business. But yeah, I mean, love is here, energy is here, information is here, transformation is here, and heartfelt love is here. Okay, we're wrapping this puppy up with Pisces. So greetings, Pisces. Welcome to your horoscope. So sometimes I talk about the three Dustana houses, the houses that tend to give us challenges, and that would be the 6th and the 8th and the 12th. And some would say the 8th is the most formidable. Because that Mars, K2, Pluto type of things associated with the 8th house, and I get that. But the 12th house is a place where we can often feel isolated or lost. It's a really good time to go to an ashram or to go to a monastery. I actually recently went to a monastery up in Plantina, St. Herman's of Alaska, and it was just remarkable. Simplicity by choice, quieting down, trying to listen to the voice of the Creator, to God's voice. This is where it's at, folks. This is what we need right now. We have to get out of the blast. We're always getting blasted by electronic information. They're wanting to get rid of actual currency and stuff and put us under an electronic spell, basically, a digital computer world spell. And although sometimes these things can help, they also allow multiple problems and multiple ways of scams and deception. So we've got to be extra vigilant right now. And I know for really young people, the Z's, people born after 96, you're really comfortable with all this stuff because you grew up with it. But it's actually extraordinarily dangerous. As an up and coming elder, I just have to say that. We're giving up a lot of our sovereignty, we're giving up a lot of our liberty, we're giving up a lot of our personal control and decision making to this great electronic, digital, computer run beast. And get ready, folks, get ready. Armageddon, I mean, it is what it is, but there's so many of us and it's hard. And for Pisces, pay attention to your dreams, get into your prayer life, and like I said, go to a place like the wilderness, to a spiritual place where you can contemplate God. I'd say a good monastery would be excellent, but that might not be your gig. You might want to be in an abbey, you might want to be in an ashram, you might just want to be in the wilderness without any influences whatsoever. And just ask the Creator in its divine wisdom to reveal himself to you or herself to you. I don't, I'll just say that, God is genderless. God is love. You are love because God made you. And even if you don't believe in that, I'm just glad you gave me a chance today. And I appreciate if you subscribe. I love your comments. Hello to Colleen and John, and to Wordsley, and to Shant, and to Nicolette, Nicole, all you viewers out there, all you wonderful people. I love you all. I appreciate you. Namaste. God bless you. Keep you. May your whole week go wonderfully. Om Shanti 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 Om. Oh man.